Okay.
Somebody got to say something positive and mean
Well,
it.
yeah. Well, you know what's so funny is that person's about to be me, you guys. That's gonna be me.
You like
This
it,
is this is a screen time continuum first, everybody.
right?
I think I might be the only one that actually enjoyed this. Um,
No,
Okay.
I did
and
enjoy it. I just had some small, finite issues with it.
no, I appreciate those issues too because I think that there are things that you can definitely critique about this. I don't think it's perfect by any stretch of the imagination. So let me say that right off the bat.
Your
What I
favorite part
will
was the
say,
dark cameras, right?
I love the dark cameras, man. It reminded me of Game of Thrones and it just gave me that nostalgic feeling. It
Well,
was perfect.
well, they do say this is Bezos's Game of Thrones.
He did definitely want it to be that.
Hmm.
Yeah. So I look, there was a lot of critique about these first three episodes from the people that we know in the YouTube space, some of the people that we follow maybe and watch their videos.
Hmm.
What I will say is I'm about to start a flame war with those people. Not like they'd ever see this because we have like 200 subscribers. So um, I think that they are grifting. I think that this is nowhere near as bad as what they're saying because there's a lot of those guys out there that are like, this is the worst thing ever. It's dead. Tolkien's dead. It's over. Blah.
Yeah, it's
No,
not
no,
that
no,
deep.
no, no, no. These first three episodes were honestly way better than anything in season one. I think episode three kind of falls off a little bit because I don't care for the Numenorian storyline that much.
Because
But
it's terrible.
yeah, I don't think it's that good. So that's one of my biggest critiques. But episode one and two is really good. I found myself liking it a lot. Now, of course, there can be nitpicks about lore and all of that stuff, but if you have the creative license to build something, and obviously they can't use specific names like hobbits and Gandalf and whatever, but for what it is,
Well,
it's not bad. I think my biggest critique is that I think that they're trying to make the orcs like sympathetic, which I think is kind of
Yeah,
dumb
they're trying
that's
to
because
a
they
that's a
shouldn't be.
personify the orcs, and
that's a lot
Yeah.
of
don't
people
like that.
doing that though. In a lot of different properties, they're trying to make the bad guys the sympathetic case.
Yes.
Like
Right.
Disney's been doing that a lot with some of their like Maleficent,
Right. Of
and
course.
I think it's some kind of campaign to justify evil.
It's
Well,
also
but
I
the
think
just
Maleficent, I think Maleficent, just a quick thing about that. I
uh,
don't know if that's as valid of a complaint as people have usually made it, because Maleficent is a part of the original story. Like Maleficent was its own story in itself before all of the ritzy ditzy happy go lucky shit we got.
what do you mean?
Like the story of Maleficent and how she became evil. Like, was she evil? Yes. And the way they twisted it, yes, they did twist it to make her a lot like, more innocent, like, oh, don't blame her type deal. But the way all of that went down, that's kind of like the original story from back in the day.
yeah. But I think it's like a very childlike narrative to think that oh the bad guys are just misunderstood and if somebody gave them a hug then they'd be good guys.
Right?
We see that a lot and I think that one of my critiques for this is that yeah the orcs don't need to have babies and wives, which we saw in episode 2 I believe or maybe 3. um they're orcs, they're
Aren't they
bloodthirsty.
created, not born?
Yeah, they're supposed to be created from like bastardized elves. Um or maybe that's the Uruk-hai. The Uruk-hai might be that version. So like the perfected orcs in Lord of the Rings from Sauron were like uh, tainted elves, but orcs aren't supposed to necessarily be sympathetic. And I think that they're trying to sort of go with this, like, oh, the orcs didn't want to serve evil; they wanted to serve Adar, and Adar isn't that evil, and blah blah blah.
Adar
Who's a
was the right hand
Adar
of
is a
evil.
completely made up character who's not a part of the original lore.
No, no, of course not. But you got to take some creative licenses, which I don't necessarily dislike. I kind of like the whole scene with Adar and supplanting Sauron and stuff. I thought that was pretty interesting. Um, but yeah, that's all to say that I think that a lot of these people who complain about Lord of the Rings, or at least the first three episodes of this second season, are doing it kind of just to make money because they've made a career off of complaining about bullshit for a long time. They can't actually say they like anything anymore. So they have to just kind of pretend like everything is awful. And honestly, I went in thinking that this was going to be bad, and I don't really think it was bad. I think episode 3 wasn't that great, but episode 1 and 2 were fine. So, those are my first impressions.